Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is July the 31st, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. The day went well. Dare I say it was even wholesome on a Thursday, no less. But we'll get into it real quick. Just on the personal news stuff. We woke up. We got ourselves together. I was kind of sleepy, but that's how it is. We're almost at the end of the week. I'm just kind of a little tired. But overall, I've been sleeping okay, pretty good actually. But we get our ass to work. And as I was working, and we're getting to the wholesome part, I continued this little post project that I did on Facebook. I call it a project. It was literally just a random post that popped into my head. But I was listening to another podcast last night, right? And they got on the subject of they have a friend who does who used to do a thing on social media where they you do the for TBH, so you and to be honest, and you say something real, straight up, about the person, good, bad, otherwise, whatever. And obviously that's some shit you do when you're a kid, some teenager or whatever. But I don't know. I hadn't done that, or I hadn't actually made one of those posts before. Maybe I shared one or something like that. And I was just in the mood. I was just you know what? All right, let's type this up, hit it, post it. And throughout yesterday, but more so today, I was just kind of running through and just someone would I noticed there'd be a little new crop of likes. And I would just say something, about them that I liked. You know what I mean? Something that I really just either admired about them or something cool in the friendship between them and I that makes me think of them, whatever. Just little cute shit like that. And I noticed as I was doing it, it was taking so much of my mental space that I was getting almost emotionally drunk off it in a good way. It was nice because with almost every single one of these people. Now, granted, as it kind of ballooned out, I was getting a little bit more likes from people. I'm I don't even know who you are, because I'm a public page. So I was who is that? What is that? Whatever. I won't worry about them. But in terms of just all the people that came through and hit that like button, I'm very thankful. You actually made my day. Actually, a couple of the newsies came through, so it was nice to say something really raw and real to them. Y'all know who you are. But yeah, I like moments like that. They are reminders that as bad as the internet can be, as dead as it can be, whatever, there are moments of I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but just I want to say realness, I guess, just off the top of my head, but just that really make realness, quality, just you get to really actually see the human spirit shine through the digital shit. And it's nice. It's fucking nice, man. I love that. It's nice that I have such a cool network of people in my life that, they just kind of can be in my orbit. I can be in their orbit. And we all enrich each other's day or life, one way or another, big, small, what have you. I just when you get to have that moment of connection. It's nice. It's nice. It's like a digital hand holding moment. I don't know. Maybe I'm being weird here, but that was definitely a dub for the day. And I was really riding on that. Post work, we went to the gym as usual. I've noticed this week, I've been pumping a little harder, and not in every way. I'm still trying to be careful with the back. I'm not trying to overcook that way. But I've definitely been hitting chest a little bit harder. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Which is nice. It's nice to be able to hit it a little bit heavier throughout the week instead of just saving it all for the weekend. Granted, that wasn't the tweak that I was supposed to be making. But yeah, I mean, hopefully this doesn't jam me up for, tomorrow and the weekend. But overall, I do feel pretty good. I felt like today's gym session was solid, so I enjoyed it. Let's see. That's pretty much it for the personal news. So yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and, get into some news. Oh man. Ugh. It was actually not as hot today. It was rainy, so that was kind of nice. It was in the 70s for most of the day, I think. So I really appreciated that. But now I'm at home in my stuffy house with no AC currently because, you got to run this shit quiet, to make the best quality thing. I'm trying to do that. Believe it or not, I'm trying to make a quality product for you, my dear listeners. But yeah, we're sweating it out still, unfortunately, at least until, we're done with this episode. The things I do for love, the things I do for news. Anyway, yeah, let's do the startup. Oh, and I got some wine on deck. I just was feeling it. You know what I mean? I'm emotionally drunk on my friends right now. Let me get like drunk in real life. Oh man. Also, the wine is a Merlot. It is a cheap one of those apothic ass fucking ones. So, shout out to 2019. That was a year. Anyway, from the Associated Press. Ukraine's parliament approves law restoring independence of anti-graft watchdogs following backlash. Ukraine's parliament on Thursday overwhelmingly approved a bill presented by President Volodymyr Zelensky that restores the independence of two of the country's key anti-corruption watchdogs, reversing its contentious move last week that curbed their power and brought out an outcry. Last week's measure by Zelensky to place the watchdogs under the oversight of Prosecutor General prompted rebukes from Ukrainians, the European Union, and international rights groups. It raised fears that the government could meddle in investigations and potentially shield its supporters from scrutiny. So, obviously, this is a good about face from Zelensky. I think it was a really bad call to say, oh, well, because I want to protect some of my peoples and stuff, we need to get a handle on this whole anti-corruption thing. It's like, brother, that's against the whole purpose of this. And I think it was just very naked, very transparent in that regard, like what was happening. And people are like, no, boo, this fucking sucks. And that's the last thing that Ukraine needs right now. That's the last thing that top brass really fucking needs is the people turning on them, is like a vote of no confidence in Zelensky. People just, that's not what obviously, Ukraine wants in terms of their top, politicians and stuff in the middle of a war. So good move, solid move. We'll skip on the details there. I just wanted to get that update when Congress actually officially made it happen. But staying in Ukraine, from the Associated Press, Russian missile and drone attack on Kyiv kills at least 13 people and injures more than 130. Russian missile and drone attacks overnight on Ukraine's capital city killed at least 13 people, including a 6-year-old boy, and wounded 132 others, authorities said Thursday. A 5-year-old girl was among 14 children wounded, Ukraine's emergency service said. It was the highest number of children injured in a single attack on Kyiv since the start of Russia's invasion 3 years ago. Wow, it's been officially 3 years now. According to the public records consulted by the Associated Press. I don't know why I'm tripped out on the number. I think what's happening here is because we're often talking about Ukraine and Russia and then Israel and Palestine. I think my brain kind of not necessarily melds the conflicts together, but just like there's details that I kind of have in the same mental pool sometimes, and they get a little crosswired. But either way, it's still long on both counts. It's so fucked up. But anyway, let's see here. A large part of a 9-story residential building collapsed in the attack. City military administration head Timur Chichenko said. Rescue teams search for people trapped under the rubble. There's gonna be a lot of details. Obviously, condolences to everyone involved in this fucking situation. It's very sad. It's very tragic. The idea of saying, hey, we are, prosecuting this whole campaign and we really don't care who we hit, what we hit. If it does the damage that we want it to do, then we're happy. And then they'll just say like, oh, well, we were trying to hit military areas and stuff. I think it's just gotten so dragged out. It's gone on for so long that you hear that even less, unless it's like super major, devastation. Like Russia doesn't even care. They're just like, yeah, we did it, whatever. Or they're silent. I think one more thing though I did want to cover before we move. This highlighted portion. Russia's defense ministry also said that its forces took control of the strategically important city of Chasiv Yar in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. Russian and Ukrainian troops have battled for control of Chasiv Yar for nearly 18 months. It includes a hilltop from which troops can attack other key points in the region that form the backbone of Ukraine's eastern defenses. So this has been a big, contention point, conflict point, whatever. And I think I was listening to the BBC, and they said that Russia was putting up flags, saying like, hey, we officially do have control of it now. But then you have from the Ukrainian side, like, no, they don't. We are definitely still fighting over this area. Open source, sources have said, yes, this is still a gray zone. This is still a zone in conflict. It's not necessarily taken over by either side. So, a bit of an update on the battlefront. As well as on the civilian end as well from Ukraine and Russia. So yeah, that will be that portion. Let's go ahead though and move on. We're gonna take it to Greece. Sadly, not a fun vacation to be had here right now. From BBC, Greece warns of invasion as it halts asylum on Mediterranean route. In the center, okay, I don't want to broach this. I will just read it. In the center of a sweltering cavernous hall, rows of men sit in silence with nothing to occupy them but the weight. Signs from an old tourist fair propped up behind them urge visitors to explore the beauty of nature, with illustrations of coves and beaches in Crete. But those held in the former Aya exhibition center did not come to the Greek island as holidaymakers. They are migrants who risked a journey across the sea from Libya to Europe's southern tip and were then detained and denied the right to apply for asylum. From Crete, they are now being moved to closed facilities on the mainland. The right for anyone to request protection or asylum is inscribed in EU and international law and in the Constitution of Greece itself. But in a move implemented in haste earlier this month and criticized by human rights lawyers, the government has overridden that principle for the next 3 months at least. So yeah, the reason I hesitated is there's a lot of, what I want to say, like exposition, a lot of extra, it feels a little editorialized. But I get it. You want to flesh out like what's going on here. You really want to see the people. You really want to hear what the fuck is up. So I do appreciate it in that regard. It's just I kind of just want to like pull the important stuff and just kind of talk about it my way, Isaiah's way. But we'll just kind of scroll through it and yap as we go. The new migration minister Thanos Polivris has told the BBC his country faces a state of emergency. He warns of an invasion if Europe does not enact tough measures and talks of the need for a strong deterrence. Anyone who comes will be detained and returned, he stresses. Now even people fleeing war in Sudan are locked up with no chance to explain their story. They're just not hearing it. They're essentially saying, yes, the EU has a broad asylum system, and that's all well and good, but then they start changing up the verbiage, like much like in America, where it's like, hey, we enacted a dusty ass alien enemies act from like 1776 or some shit, and we're using this to be like, yeah, we're treating you like an enemy combatant. So this allows us to just override all of your rights. We don't care. We're going to treat you as less than human because you're not from here. Like, it is the same idea. It is the same style and motion. It's just Greek. It's just with like better yogurt. I don't fucking know. Let's read further. Inside the old exhibition center, migrants were warned off speaking to us by the guards. They're in detention, we were told. Which, that's wild to me, because you know that you don't want these migrants to tell their story. You know that if they tell their story to the likes of the BBC and that comes out and it gets megaphoned, you guys look like fucking demons. Because you're treating these people like they're less than, all so that you can make a little bit more tourist dollars, is more or less the long and short here in a lot of this article. So it's very disturbing. It's very fucking upsetting. But it's also worth noting too that Greece is not the only one. Greece is using that idea of like, I think Italy has said some shit like this before as well, where it's like, we are guarding the gates. to Europe. Like, these migrants, they're coming here, and if we let them break through here, they're going to run rampant throughout all of Europe. And that's not what we want. And it's like, what? Why are you guys treating them like they're like barbarians at the gates? For one, they're people. In so many of these fucking situations, they're people who are fleeing a war-torn situation. They are trying to find a chance at a better life. And I think there's a migration minister who goes, well, I mean, hey, let me just be real here. Why can't they just stay in Libya or some shit? And it's like, brother, they are trying to, I guess, like you said, make their way through. They want to get to a place where they are safe, they are secure, they are able to find a place to work, make some money, and so they can fucking send it back to their family. So maybe they get their family to come here to where they are. Or they can at least just fund a way of living for them. Because at the end of the day, they can't sustain that where they are. You know what I mean? And essentially you're saying, well, we don't like you. We don't like you. We don't like the cut of your jib. You're different from us. We're going to lock you up. And then we're going to throw you out. Also, this is worth noting too. I mean, this isn't the first time we have seen extreme aggression against migrants coming out of Greece. It's just not. Last year, they had the story of them literally, like, the Greek Coast Guard killing a fucking engine of a migration ship. And, you know, leaving the people out to fucking die, dude. Like what? Where's the humanity in that? Once again, also that you can keep some people out that look different from you and maybe get some more tourist dollars, you know, so that the tourists feel a little bit better about being on the beach. And this is not just a thing that is being said by the politicians. You have it in the shopkeepers and the people who live in the city and like, who live in these towns and stuff. They're like, no, like we don't. They kind of are plugging their head or their ears up, and they're just like, la la la, it's whatever, it's all good. I don't really see them, you know, but you know, it is a potential problem. It does jam up business, and it's like, you care more about that than human lives. That's so gross. It's just so fucking gross. And I know I can't talk shit. I live in a country that has streamlined that. And it is a main export for us. Is just how to be xenophobic. How to fucking keep people out of your country. How to fucking just grind people into dust. Just ruin their whole lives that they've tried to just put together with spit and glue and just sheer grit, which is supposed to be like pure good values from almost any country. You at least parade that out as if like that's our national brand. But then when another motherfucker comes through with that same kind of morale, with that same kind of gumption, you lock them up, you spit them out. So yeah, I'm still keep talking about this shit because I remember being so flabbergasted when I first started this shit and I started, you know, covering international news and seeing it like so blatant, and not just like in America, not just the UK, but like any one of these Western countries is just so capable of it. And not just Western countries. This is a thing across the board. It doesn't matter who you are. There's always another othering. And god damn, man, like I just want to push for a world that has less of that. I just feel like the whole idea of us being in this modern ass fucking 2025 ass society is that we're supposed to be pushing past this shit, bro. Like, but we can't. We just can't ever get over ourselves one way or another. And it makes me so fucking sad. It makes me so goddamn mad. And yeah, I'm gonna keep railing against it. So yeah, boo Greece, Tomato Town, all of that shit. Boo, boo, boo. Throwing tomatoes at that shit, man. What the hell? Do fucking better, man. God damn. And also, I finished one of my thoughts too. I mentioned Italy. That's not really mentioned in this article, but they mentioned Poland, who's done the same kind of thing, where they're like, yeah, we gotta maybe, you know, revisit this whole thing with asylum and stuff. Gotta kind of protect our borders and stuff. You know, the people are getting mad. The racists are mad. I gotta appease our base. And you see it from, once again, you don't just see it from like a right inside. You see it from right and left, and so many politics throughout, you know, the world. So it's very frustrating. It's very fucking frustrating. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that, say my fucking 2 cents, yap it up. Once again, this is a good article. They definitely tell the story better than I do. I really didn't want to denote, like, with the whole editorializing thing. I think, once again, it is good to show, illustrate as best as you can what is happening in a situation. And I appreciate when a person does it. It just kind of sucks for what I'm doing, because I kind of want it the Axios way, where they just give me a bunch of bullet points and it feels like a pop-up book, and then I can just tell you the story. That's what I like. Because essentially I was like, make my script for me. But this is all me shit. Sorry, I'm doing inside baseball a bit. Anyway, let's move on to our next story. Actually, let me take a water break. Stay hydrated, y'all. Oh man, I will tell you, this summer on creatine, the thirst is real. Like the term "unslakable thirst" comes to mind in the morning. Oh man, it's that part kind of sucks. But overall, you drink through that, you get to about the midday, it's business as usual, baby. And like I said, I'm kind of lifting a little different. I'm lifting a little crazy. No, but it's more or less the same shit. But anyway, that's a little creatine update. From ABC News. F-35 fighter jet crashes in California, Navy says. Crashing in California sounds like a banger song title. Like, I don't know, I feel like a Dominique Fike or some shit would like make some song like that. I don't know. Anyway, an F-35 fighter jet crashed at Naval Air Station Lemoore in Central California on Wednesday, the Navy confirmed. The pilot successfully ejected and is safe. There are no additional affected personnel. NAS Lemoore said in a statement. At 4:30 local time, an F-35C attached to the VFA 125 Rough Raiders went down not far from NAS Lemoore. The statement continued. The cause of the incident is under investigation. See, I like that. That's nice and easy. Very quick. But yeah, glad that everyone got out safe. I mean, at least the person involved, the pilot. Hell yeah. That's good. And seemingly relatively little damage. No civilians were hurt. So like fucking yeah, we love to see it. Thumbs up. That's actually a bit of good news here in that regard. So yeah, crisis averted or dodged, what have you. All right. I believe we are up to our last story. We have bumbled our way there. So we're going to reward ourselves with our last break, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. Close it out. Ooh wee. Oh boy. All right. Our last story is coming. Coming out of ABC News. Teacher arrested for Arkansas double murder admits to killing married couple. So this is an update on the Devil's Den murders. Oh gosh. I'm sorry, mea culpa. A 28-year-old teacher has admitted to murdering the married couple found stabbed to death on a walking trail in Arkansas Park over the weekend in what appears to be a completely random attack, police said. Andrew James McGann, 28, of Springdale, Arkansas, was charged with 2 counts of capital murder in the killings of 43-year-old Clinton David Brink and his wife, 41-year-old Kristen Amanda Brink, Arkansas State Police announced Wednesday evening. The Brinks were fatally attacked while out hiking with their two daughters at Devil's Den State Park on July 26th, police said. The horrific assault occurred about half a mile into the park, with the husband attacked first. The children, ages 7 and 9, were not harmed in the incident thanks to the actions of their mother. We believe that the mother took them to safety and then returned to help her husband. Major Stacy Rhodes with the Arkansas State Police said during a press briefing. Thursday. So this is my first time getting details on the actual murder. Obviously from the thumbnail, you see the suspect as well, which we'll get to in a second. But, god damn, dude. Like, I am a single man, no children, right? So obviously there is a bit of disconnect for me in the emotional department, but I do get it, right? I don't think it's a stretch of imagination to put yourself in that kind of situation, but it just adds a level of heartbreak to the story to know that it's like she could have gotten the kids all the way out, the three of them could have been safe. But obviously, you completely understand why she goes back. Like, that's her husband. If she can do anything to help him, that's what she's gonna do, right? Like, and she made sure that they were safe, and then she went back, and then she was also murdered, and just completely just random act. Like, there's hopefully gonna be more out of this, man. But god damn, dude, it just that to me, reading that detail for some reason was just, that was rough. That was the part that really kind of got me. Following a days-long manhunt for the suspect, McGann was arrested shortly before 5 p.m. local time Wednesday at a barbershop in Springdale, about 30 miles north of the park. So yeah, I mean, he was getting a haircut, but I don't know. I think they're kind of saying that it's like there wasn't anything about this that seems that he was trying to like really conceal himself or really hide out. I mean, maybe so. I mean, I think even with Koberger, which I keep finding myself making the same kind of comparison, I guess because it's so recent. But god damn, there's just something like, maybe it is random because I look at this guy and he just has that kind of like dead eye, labubu ass evil stare, no smile, and it's just like, oh, like, it's so unsettling. There's just something like, I'm trying to find in that guy and I can't find it just from the face. And then you hear the story and it almost makes it more confusing because you heard at the top I said teacher, right? Yeah, this motherfucker was a teacher. Let me see if I want to. They talk about the DNA matching. He also admitted to the police that he did it. So I mean, this kind of does seem like a slam dunk in that regard. I know that the prosecution, I think, is already saying, yeah, we're looking to do the death penalty. Let's see. Here we go. I think I'm scrolling past it. I'm sorry. Yeah, McGann had recently moved to the area from Oklahoma and had been hired to work at a local school, officials said. He was hired to teach in Springdale Public Schools district this upcoming school year, but had not yet begun employment, according to the district superintendent, Jared Cleveland. This individual has not at any time come into contact with Springdale students or the families we serve, Cleveland said in a statement, adding that no additional information is available at this time due to the ongoing investigation. Scrolling ahead, McGann was a 5th grade teacher in Broken Arrows, Oklahoma, during the 2023 to 2024 school year, the school district said. He passed required background checks, a Broken Arrow Public Schools spokesperson said. The prior school year, he was employed at an elementary school in Flower Mound, Texas. The Louisville, this is Louisville. I know Louisville when I see it, and that is not that. Louisville Independent School District confirmed. He was placed on administrative leave in the spring of 2023 following concerns related to classroom management, professional judgment, and student favoritism, and he ultimately resigned. Now, I was mulling this over and just thinking of these reasons. The only thing that would maybe potentially raise an eyebrow to me, and I feel like I'm digging to even say this, would be like, well, what's the professional judgment issue? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, computer enhanced. Like, everything else about this seems like, even if it's like bad, so he just maybe wasn't a good teacher. Maybe he's on his Cameron Diaz shit, but I don't know if this is like, oh, this guy definitely was looking like a murderer. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's something that everyone does. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't think I'm alone here. But like when you hear about a murder like this, right? Like you go, well, how does a person get here? Right? And then you go, he's a teacher. Well, clearly there were signs, right? And that's what you're kind of scanning for, right? The whole time. And I find myself doing this with this guy, and it's just like, okay, maybe he was a bit of a schlep or something. Maybe he wasn't like a rank teacher, but like, okay, he would pass my smell test is what I'm saying. Outside of the fact that like he kind of has that creepy face. But hey, sometimes people just have a creepy face. I have a creepy, I hate to say it, I have like a deadpan kind of thing myself sometimes, especially in the gym. I can feel it in the gym because I am trying to move. I am walking with the intention, like in the energy of like an Amon Amarth song is playing behind me. That is how I move. So like I notice that, and I feel it the most when someone like acknowledges me. Like I notice that Another one of the regulars, kind of nice, seems like a cool guy. He like kind of like gave me the like, hey, what's up? I see you. What's up, man? And I was like, it snapped me out of it because I was just like kind of moving, like I'm ready to hit the next machine. But imagine you see that guy like that all the time. That would be uncanny. That'd be a little unsettling. I don't know where I'm going with this. I kind of just wanted to talk about that dude. I'm sorry. Maybe that's ableist. I'm canceled on Blue Sky. But they did have a lot of evidence on this guy. And once again, I don't think that they're 100% sure on like, well, why was he getting the haircut? I mean, maybe I'm just being fucking naive, and like he totally was like trying to like change his appearance up a bit, but like he just wasn't doing a good job. Like pretty much everything about this guy it just screams slop. It just screams sloppy impulse. Like maybe he had a thought to maybe make this killing happen in this place, but they weren't like a target he was scoping out. Like this is a target chose in the moment, I believe. Well, my speculation hats on a bit here, but I guess we can actually fuck my side of it. Let's keep reading. The victims died from stab wounds, and the murder weapon was a knife, Hagar said Thursday. Knives were recovered from the resident's home, but it's unclear if any was a murder weapon, Rhodes said. Haggard said police received 500 tips and credited the public's help with bringing the suspect into custody. But yeah, they had a composite sketch from this article. I'm looking at a picture of his back. I think I mentioned that in the episode we talked about it. But like, you just have an idea of what this guy looked like. Yeah, I mean, essentially in this photo, in the little sketch, he has like some stubble. And that's really about it. It was really the only difference. Let's see. Police previously said the suspect was seen leaving the area in a black 4-door sedan, probably a Mazda, with the license plate covered up by tape. I remember mentioning that and being like, ooh, I don't like that. So the person had the intention of, I think, like I said, doing it on site here. I think that was the level of anticipation and preparation. But once again, not much outside of that, because how are you not aware that there's going to be cameras potentially seeing you, dog? And not to mention that there are people around to like scope you out. You're doing this in broad daylight. Like there's a looseness to this that is not like, maybe looking like first time. I don't know. Once again, I'm definitely jumping ahead with a speculation. I should probably stop. Once they identified the suspect, McGann was arrested within an hour at the barbershop. Police do not believe the suspect was trying to alter his appearance and getting a haircut, according to Rhodes, saying, you could chalk that up that school starts next week. See, that's what I was getting at, right? So it's like, maybe he had the intention of murdering that day. I think that was maybe pretty clear, pretty evident, but I think he got what he wanted and was like, okay, I did it. It's done now. But once again, that was the eerie nature of it, because it just feels like I don't think this was just going to be a one-off thing for this guy. Not to mention that wouldn't make it okay, of course. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this person could and would kill again. That kind of idea was kind of floating in my head. So good that they were able to get this guy, within the week of it happening. I think that's probably best case scenario. We will be back to cover more on this. Also, it's worth noting too, before I forget, the Brinks had a third daughter. They are, all safe. The third daughter just wasn't going on the hike. But yeah, I believe they are all in custody right now. And that's a sad thing, you went from having a family, and this is literally a whole ass fucking Batman moment for you. And obviously you're not going to go fight crime now or anything like that. Like, you just have to carry that fucking trauma. You have to carry that fucking weight. That shit. Oy. That's heavy. So yeah, I mean, we're ending on a sad note, but I am, glad and least silver lining that this guy is off the streets. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least this guy is not going to be doing that anymore. And also not going to be a teacher, because that's probably good to not have a killer teacher. So yeah, that is what we'll leave it for today. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Roll call is tomorrow. So get in. You have like less than 24 hours. But yeah, no biggie. If not, it's okay. But free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube, follow on TikTok, follow on Spotify, follow on Apple Podcasts, whatever listening platform. I'm there. I'm ready. I'm ready? I'm ready, princess. No, sorry. But yeah, leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. You don't have to do any of that. I obviously just appreciate you listening and tuning in and listening to me fumble around and use words poorly. I think it's pretty cool. Um, yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye bye. Mwah.